Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless official 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. To make Lily jealous, Kane and Phyllis pretend to be in love. According to spoilers on The Young and the Restless, Michelle Stafford's character Phyllis Summers might pose as Kane Ashby. Pretending to be with Phyllis might be exactly what Kane needs to get back Lily Winters. Lily has stated that she has no interest in interacting with Kane, but is that really the case? Kane Ashby desires the return of Lily Winters. Some time ago, Kane made the decision that he wanted Lily back. But as Aristotle Dumas, Kane was focusing on increasing his wealth and status. Lily was dating Damian Kane at the time, but Kane's right-hand man Carter chose to eliminate the competition. Kane will be pleading with Lily to give him another opportunity in the August 18th episode. Kane believes that he and Lily need to reclaim the wonderful thing they had. Lily still doesn't agree with Kane and won't give him another chance. Will Kane become so irate that he will turn to Phyllis to achieve his goals? When it comes to Kane Ashby, Phyllis Summers will stop at nothing. To ensure that Kane is content and receives what she desires, Phyllis is prepared to go above and beyond. At this point in time, Phyllis has no love partners and no serious possibilities. If playing Kane's girlfriend will make Lily envious, Phyllis wouldn't mind. The recent death of Lily's boyfriend seemed to have no bearing on anyone. After Damian's recent burial, how could Lily be prepared to go on with Kane? What if Lily jumped into bed with Kane? What would that mean for her feelings for Damian? Why would Damian expect Lily to suddenly be all about him since Kane has just approved of their relationship? Is Kane overly optimistic? Is Lily Winter going too far in her protest? As if they were in elementary school, Lily continually telling Kane that she doesn't want anything to do with him and that his behavior bothers their kids. Honestly, those youngsters are at least 20 years old. Do they lack the maturity to determine whether or not they are angry at Kane? Kane hasn't been there for years, really. Maybe Lily is using the children as a pretext to get back together with Kane. Will Lily get envious enough to reclaim Kane because of Phyllis? Given how much she liked Victor Newman and Nikki Newman, would Lily want to be a part of Kane's takeover? Will Lily get her boyfriend back? Kane Ashby's pursuit of Lily Winters has never been simple, and according to spoilers for The Young and the Restless, his determination is about to cross into dangerous territory as he joins forces with Phyllis Summers in a scheme that could change everything. Because when Kane realizes that Lily has made it perfectly clear she does not want anything to do with him anymore, he becomes increasingly desperate to find a way back into her life. And though Lily insists she has moved on and her heart remains closed off after Damian Kane's tragic death, Kane refuses to accept her rejection as final, telling himself that their bond, their history, and the years of passion and pain they shared cannot simply vanish into thin air. And in his mind, Lily must still love him deep down, even if she refuses to admit it. So he starts searching for a strategy that might force her to face those buried emotions, and that is where Phyllis Summers comes in, because Phyllis, too, finds herself at a crossroads, a woman without a partner, with no strong romantic storyline anchoring her in Genoa City, and though she is fierce, independent, and more than capable of standing on her own, she cannot resist the lure of getting involved in a drama that could put her at the center of attention. So when Kane suggests that they pretend to be together to spark Lily's jealousy, Phyllis doesn't need much convincing, because for her it's not about Kane's broken heart, it's about the thrill of shaking things up, of watching the ripples of chaos spread through Genoa City as people whisper and wonder about their unlikely romance. And so the two hatch a plan, presenting themselves as a couple, hand in hand at society, whispering in corners, laughing a little too loudly, ensuring that Lily notices every moment, and at first Lily rolls her eyes, telling herself that Kane is pathetic for stooping so low and that Phyllis must be bored to entertain such theatrics. But the more she sees them together, the more it gnaws at her. Because despite her protests, Lily is not immune to the idea of Kane moving on, especially not with Phyllis, a woman she has never fully trusted, a woman who has a history of cutting corners, manipulating situations, and taking whatever she wants. And the thought of Kane being wrapped around Phyllis's finger unsettles her in ways she does not want to admit, though she continues to hide behind the excuse of protecting her adult children from Kane's toxicity, arguing that Kane's reappearance in their lives will only stir old wounds. But in reality, the twins are grown, making their own decisions, and her insistence that they need shielding is beginning to sound less like truth and more like a shield for her own conflicted emotions. And meanwhile Kane, emboldened by Phyllis's convincing performance as his new lover, presses Lily harder than ever, reminding her of their past, their passion, their family, even telling her that Damien's death, tragic as it was, should not mean she gives up on happiness forever, that life is too short to live in grief, and that she knows deep down they belong together. But Lily, though shaken, digs in her heels, insisting she cannot and will not go back down that road. Though in private she finds herself staring at her reflection, remembering moments with Kane that once made her smile, questioning why she feels a stab of hurt every time she sees him brush Phyllis's hair back or place a hand on her lower back as they leave a room, and she wonders if maybe, just maybe, Kane is right, that she is lying not only to him but to herself, yet pride and fear hold her back, because the last time she gave her heart to Kane, it ended in disaster, betrayal, and pain, and she does not know if she can endure that again, while Kane, convinced that his plan with Phyllis is working, grows more confident, even cocky, dreaming of the moment when Lily finally snaps and admits she cannot stand to see him with another woman, and Phyllis, though initially amused, begins to realize she is playing with fire, because while she can laugh off Kane's advances in public, in private she starts to wonder if she has entangled herself too deeply, since Kane is relentless, a man who will bulldoze over boundaries if it gets him what he wants, and Phyllis is no stranger to obsession, having been on both sides of that coin, yet she underestimates just how far Kane will go, because Kane is not simply staging a show for Lily. He is convincing himself that Phyllis is his partner in destiny, that their fake romance could even blossom into something real, and Phyllis, though flattered at first, quickly grows wary, realizing she has given Kane too much ammunition, that his desperation for Lily might easily twist into desperation to hold on to her, and still the drama escalates, because Lily cannot ignore the whispers around town, people asking if she is jealous, if she regrets letting Kane go, and those whispers reach her children as well, who confront her about her true feelings, asking if she really hates Kane as much as she says or if she is just punishing him for the past, and Lily, cornered, finds herself lashing out, claiming she does not care what Kane does, yet her every action betrays the opposite, because she cannot stop looking, cannot stop listening, cannot stop thinking about him, and the truth is she is furious not only at Kane but at herself, for still loving him despite everything, for still wanting him despite swearing she would never again, and so the tension builds like a storm, Kane flaunting his romance with Phyllis, Phyllis enjoying the chaos but quietly questioning her own role, and Lily crumbling under the weight of jealousy she refuses to name, and in the midst of it all, the memory of Damien looms like a ghost, because Lily cannot reconcile how she could possibly move on so soon after burying him, cannot accept that love is already tempting her again, and she fears what it says about her loyalty, her heart, her identity, but Kane insists that Damien would want her to be happy, that she cannot live in mourning forever, and though Lily bristles at his presumption, part of her knows he is right, that grief and love are not enemies, that one can mourn and still reach for life again, yet still she hesitates, until one night she catches Kane and Phyllis in what appears to be a stolen kiss, and something inside her breaks, a mixture of fury, heartbreak, and undeniable longing crashing over her, and in that moment she knows the truth. She still wants Kane, she still loves him, and no matter how hard she fights it, the jealousy proves it, but the question remains whether she will act on it, whether she will allow herself to reclaim the man who hurt her, who betrayed her, who might hurt her again, or whether she will walk away and let Phyllis win. And as the next chapter of this dangerous game unfolds, one thing is certain, Lily Winters is no longer as certain as she once was, and Kane Ashby, with Phyllis Summers at his side, has managed to crack the walls she built around her heart, setting the stage for a battle of pride, passion, and jealousy that could either reunite them in fiery love or tear them apart forever. The fallout from Kane and Phyllis's charade only intensifies as the days go by, because in Genoa City, nothing remains a secret for long, and the sight of Kane and Phyllis parading around town arm in arm becomes a hot topic of gossip, with everyone from Victor Newman to Abby to Nikki speculating on whether their relationship is genuine or a performance, and while Kane thrives on the attention, believing that the more people talk, the more likely Lily is to feel cornered into admitting her jealousy, Phyllis starts to sense the danger in fanning these flames, because though she agreed to this game, she never signed up to be swallowed by it, yet every time she thinks about pulling back, Kane reminds her how crucial her role is, how Lily is finally starting to crack, and how they are just one step away from success. And in a strange way, Phyllis enjoys the adrenaline of being part of such a scheme, because her life has felt stagnant lately, and playing the role of Kane's devoted girlfriend gives her power, visibility, and leverage, especially when others underestimate her motives. But soon the game begins to take its toll, because Lily, though outwardly composed, is unraveling inside, battling the dual forces of grief for Damien and the persistent, inconvenient pull toward Kane, and she begins snapping at friends, lashing out at her children, and overcompensating by throwing herself into work, pretending that she is unaffected when in truth she is consumed, unable to shake the images of Kane's hand lingering on Phyllis's back, unable to ignore the smug way Phyllis glances at her when they pass in society. And the more she tells herself that Kane is pathetic and beneath her, the more her heart betrays her with the pang of longing, because she remembers the man who once made her feel alive, the father of her children, the partner she once trusted, and she hates herself for still loving him after all his mistakes. But jealousy is not rational, it festers like poison, and it blinds her to reason, which is exactly what Kane is counting on, because every flicker of emotion he catches in Lily's eyes fuels his conviction that he is winning, that Lily will come back to him if he just pushes harder. And yet, Kane's arrogance blinds him to the risks of his own plan, because Phyllis is not just a willing accomplice, she is a master manipulator with her own agenda, and if Kane thinks he can control her indefinitely, he is sorely mistaken, because Phyllis begins to toy with the idea of turning this fake romance into something real, not because she loves Kane, but because she sees opportunity in aligning with him, especially in matters of power, influence, and revenge. And while Kane dreams only of Lily, Phyllis dreams of a world where she is untouchable, and Kane's obsession makes him easy to bend. But before any of these shifting motives can play out fully, Lily finds herself at a crossroads, because the pressure from her family mounts as her children urge her to stop pretending she does not care, pointing out that her constant criticisms of Kane and Phyllis prove the opposite, and even Devon, ever the voice of reason, gently asks her if she is sure she is done with Kane, reminding her that life is short and forgiveness is powerful. And though Lily insists she cannot and will not revisit that chapter, his words plant a seed, one that only grows stronger when she stumbles across Kane and Phyllis at Chancellor Winter's gala, dressed to the nines, glowing as though they truly are a couple in love, and when she sees Kane's hand tighten around Phyllis's waist as though he cannot bear to let her go, Lily's composure finally fractures, jealousy spilling out in the form of cutting remarks, icy glares, and eventually a confrontation that has half the room staring, as she accuses Phyllis of playing games and Kane of stooping lower than she thought possible. But her fury, far from weakening Kane, only strengthens his resolve, because in his mind, Lily would not be so enraged if she did not care, and as much as she denies it, her jealousy is proof enough for him that the plan is working. Though what Kane does not realize is that Phyllis is no longer content to simply play her part, and in the quiet moments after the gala, when the two of them toast their success in private, Phyllis leans closer, her eyes glittering with mischief, and kisses him in a way that makes it impossible to tell whether it is still part of the act. And for the first time Kane feels a jolt of confusion, because while his heart belongs to Lily, there is no denying that Phyllis is a force of nature, seductive, cunning, and impossible to ignore. And the blurred lines between fake and real begin to shake the foundation of his scheme, leaving him vulnerable to a trap of his own making, while Lily, torn apart by the sight of Kane seemingly moving on, starts questioning whether she made the right choice in pushing him away, wondering if perhaps her pride has cost her the chance at love. And though she tells herself Damien deserves her loyalty, her heart betrays her with the ache of seeing Kane in another woman's arms, setting the stage for a showdown where Lily must finally confront her true feelings, where Kane must decide whether his obsession with Lily outweighs the unexpected bond forming with Phyllis, and where Phyllis, as always, holds the cards close to her chest, ready to play whichever side ensures her victory, even if it means betraying Kane in the end. And through it all the people of Genoa City watch, whisper, and wait, knowing that when jealousy, love, and ambition collide, the fallout is never clean, and the battle for Kane's heart, and Lily's soul, has only just begun. As the tension in Genoa City continues to mount, the fake romance between Kane and Phyllis grows more elaborate, to the point where even Kane himself begins to blur the lines between performance and reality, because the more time he spends with Phyllis, the more complicated his emotions become. And though his mind insists that she is only a means to an end, his body reacts to her touches, his heart sometimes quickens when she laughs at his jokes, and the thrill of their partnership fuels his ego in ways he did not expect. But beneath that surface excitement lurks a darker truth. Cain is losing control of the plan. Because Phyllis is not a passive accomplice, she is a woman with her own mind, her own desires, and her own strategies, and the moment she senses weakness in Cain, she begins to exploit it, planting subtle doubts in his mind, making him wonder if Lily truly deserves him, reminding him of all the times Lily walked away, abandoned him, rejected him, while at the same time positioning herself as the one who always stands by his side, loyal and fearless. And Cain, desperate for validation, begins leaning on her more than he intended, creating a dangerous dynamic that only deepens when Lily finally snaps and confronts Phyllis face to face, an explosive clash that takes place not in private but in the heart of society, with half of Genoa City's elite watching as Lily storms up to their table, slamming her purse down and demanding to know why Phyllis always inserts herself into other people's business, accusing her of being pathetic for clinging to a man who clearly still wants someone else. And Phyllis, never one to back down, smirks with that trademark glint in her eye and fires back, saying that perhaps Lily should be less concerned about what Cain wants and more concerned about why she can't seem to stop staring. And the room goes silent as everyone realizes this isn't just about Cain anymore, it's about two powerful women locked in a battle of pride, grief, and jealousy. And while Lily insists she doesn't care, her voice trembles with emotion, betraying the truth that everyone can see, especially Cain, whose heart soars at the confirmation that Lily's jealousy is real. Yet he remains frozen, caught between the woman he loves and the woman helping him manipulate her. And when Lily storms off in tears, the damage is done, because now the town is buzzing, whispering about Lily's outburst, about whether she still has feelings for Cain, about whether Phyllis is simply collateral damage or an actual rival. And Cain feels more powerful than ever, convinced that he is close to reclaiming Lily. But Phyllis sees the confrontation differently, because in her mind, Lily just handed her the greatest weapon of all, proof that she can get under Lily's skin, proof that she has power not just over Cain, but over Lily herself, and that realization sparks a dangerous ambition in Phyllis, who begins to think less about helping Cain win Lily back, and more about how she might twist this arrangement to her own advantage, perhaps even making their fake romance permanent. Because why should she settle for being the pawn in Cain's game when she could rewrite the rules entirely? Yet as Phyllis grows bolder, Cain grows reckless, showering her with public affection, making sure Lily notices every kiss, every whispered word, every casual touch. And while it eats away at Lily's composure, it also drives her into a corner where she begins questioning whether she should finally admit her feelings or cut Cain out of her life for good. And in her desperation she seeks advice from Devon, who urges her to be honest with herself, warning that if she truly loves Cain, she must act before Phyllis secures a permanent hold on him. But if she doesn't, then she must let him go once and for all, because continuing to waver will only destroy her. Yet Lily cannot bring herself to decide, torn between pride and passion, between grief for Damien and love for Cain. And that indecision only fuels Phyllis's determination to tighten her grip, leading her to orchestrate more elaborate displays of affection, such as inviting Cain to Newman events where she makes sure the press captures every cozy moment, even planting stories in the media about their supposed whirlwind romance, painting herself as the woman who healed Cain's broken heart, and Lily as the cold ex who let him slip away. And the sting of that narrative cuts Lily to her core, igniting a fury she can no longer suppress, until finally, during another public run-in, she and Phyllis erupt into a shouting match that nearly turns physical, restrained only by Devon and Nate pulling Lily back before she can do something reckless. But the damage is done, because now the entire town knows that Lily still loves Cain, no matter how loudly she denies it, and Cain, drunk on the success of his scheme, begins pushing harder than ever, cornering Lily in her office, begging her to admit what everyone can see, that she still wants him, that she still loves him. And though she resists, tears betray her, whispering the truth her pride refuses to speak. Yet before Cain can seal the victory he has long dreamed of, Phyllis steps in, reminding him that without her, none of this would have been possible, that he owes his progress to her, and that perhaps he should consider whether Lily's jealousy is worth the risk of betraying the one woman who has stood by him through it all, planting seeds of guilt and confusion in his mind. And Cain, already struggling with the blurred lines between fake and real, begins to falter. Torn between his undying love for Lily and the intoxicating bond he has formed with Phyllis, a bond that is equal parts alliance, attraction, and danger, leaving him trapped in a triangle that could either deliver him the love of his life or destroy him completely, while Lily, desperate to reclaim her dignity, vows to expose Phyllis's manipulation and prove that Kane is only being used, unaware that Phyllis is already several steps ahead, preparing her next move in a game that has become less about love and more about dominance, power, and victory at any cost, setting the stage for a climax that will force all three to face the truth about what they really want, who they really love, and how far they are willing to go to win.